The great thing about sleeping in the desert is you don't need a roof over your head. This isn't 5-star luxury. At night, it's 5 billion star luxury. Mind you, winter in the desert means cold nights. And so you need a good bedroll like this one, traditional Australian swag. The other piece of kit that's become standard in the Australian outback is the 4x4, because the distances here are so immense. But there are people who walk every inch of this country, and that's what I'm going to be doing, walking, because that's the only way to really get to know the land.
This is the Central Australian Desert, the red heart of the continent. I'm about 350 kilometres south of Uluru, what we call Ayers Rock. Now, because Australia is so vast, the coastal rains hardly ever reach here, so drought is common. Don't be misled by the trees and shrubs you see. They are specially adapted to desert conditions.
And over 40,000 years, the human inhabitants have also come to be specialists. I've been invited to go walk about with the Pitjantjatjara people, who are the local Aborigines, or as they prefer to be called, the Anangu.
The early explorers of Australia were astonished by the Anangu's ability to travel with impunity across land that they believed to be devoid of water.
The secret was that their elders had taught them from childhood stories about this landscape that detailed the location of every source of water to be found. Mind you, even if those early explorers had been standing on top of the water, they might never have known it. We're doing that right now. This is an Anangu water source. Is it wet? Oh yeah, it's wet water. Yeah, so we're going to dig here? Yeah.
Equally important is knowing how much water they'll find. They know this through careful observation of rainfall and signs like smoke in the air or tracks, which tell them of other people's movements in the area.
I've hit the rock. Here it comes. It's just starting to seep in, yeah? Is that right? And there is the water. That's what it's all about. And the reason that water's here is that it's seeped off of this landscape when there have been rains, run down the rock into a sort of basin. Of course, this basin is filled in with sand, and that protects the water from evaporation by the sun. And that's how you get your water. Okay. Just like this? Yeah. Just like that. And the grass acts as a sort of filter to keep the particles of soil out of the water. And you end up with something like that. Mind you, given a few minutes, the water will clear itself as the sediment just settles in it. You can't get cleaner water than that. Oh yeah, Wiru. Kapi Wiru. Is this the one we're after?
But it's in times of severe drought that the Pitjantjatjara are at their most resourceful.
This tree is an emergency source of water. It's the desert Karajong, and you can use the root to get your water. Now, if you want to identify this tree, it's quite easy because the leaf looks just like an emu's track.
The women look for cracks in the ground, which indicate the location of a swollen root. Armed with only a crowbar as a digging stick and a small shovel, Mabel and Rosemary will often spend all day working in the bush in extreme temperatures. Their stamina is incredible. Historically, as in most Aboriginal societies, the women collect the bulk of the food and water. Roots from young desert Karajong trees can be roasted and eaten.
Oh yeah, it's splashing in the face.
Mm.
There we go. So, that's the root of the desert Karajong. You scrape it, and you take those scrapings like this, and then you squeeze them, and there's the life-saving liquid. Wow. There. It tastes a bit like raw potato, but there's a lot of water in this root, as you can see. Now, if we were making a journey, we wouldn't peel all of the root like this. We'd just peel it back a little way and scrape down the root to give us enough water for that drink at that time. And then as we went on, we could peel back more and more and more. Fantastic. Brilliant. A lot of digging there.
The Anangu were devastated by the invasion of European settlers. Affected by disease, despair and alcoholism, they were not even granted Australian citizenship until 1967. Since then, they have fought for recognition. Today, the Pitjantjatjara have lands which cover an area of 100,000 square kilometres and a population of 3,500.
This is the Pitjantjatjara community of Amateur. 500 people live here, and whilst they still fiercely maintain their religion, they're also forward-thinking. They have a clinic and a school because they want the young generation to benefit from modern healthcare and education.
But despite these advantages, Anangu families still return to the bush because of their religion. They believe in the beginning of time, creatures both human and animal wandered over the land, shaping it. The stories passed down by the elders about these ancestral beings are known as the Chukurpa. The Chukurpa is fundamental to Anangu life. It contains the knowledge of how to survive in their country and is the law which binds them both physically and spiritually to the land. The Wiltshire, made from branches of mulga trees and covered with grass,